All right, so let's say out of every 10 leads you work and talk to over the phone, you close like 2 people, right? Well, what if you could close 4 people instead, right? Instead of 2. Wouldn't that be better? That would be doubling your closing rate, right? So if that sounds interesting to you, then you don't want to go anywhere, and you definitely don't want to miss this episode, because I'm going to absolutely reveal the one simple thing you can do and take advantage of right now that literally just takes you like 2 seconds to activate, because this is all psychology and psychologically based, and this has absolutely nothing to do with setting up a new software and setting all that stuff up and integrating it to all your many systems and making sure everything's communicating with each other, right? It's none of that stuff, right? This is a psychological hack that you can absolutely use in your business as a real estate agent, or as a realtor, or as an apartment locator today, to absolutely double your sales. And no one even does this well, and it's little talked about in our industry. So if this all sounds really interesting to you, first of all, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you're on a podcast or something and this is where you're listening to this message, then definitely follow the podcast. And if you're a brokerage firm owner and you sponsor other agents within your firm, then refer them over to this channel, because why wouldn't you want to double all of your sponsored agents' closing rates with a simple psychological hack that everyone could be using tomorrow or today? All right, so right before I reveal the secret and kind of explain the details and the intricacies of actually how to execute this the right way so you actually double your closing rates, and we're not just hoping to, right? Let me just tell you a story that will lead into how someone recommended this to me, and it absolutely changed my real estate business the most, right? Especially because this isn't like a software tool or anything you have to pay for, right? And it doubled my closing rate. Doubled. That's a really, really big deal, right? Because whatever your monthly income is, if you start utilizing this right now, you can double your monthly income. All right. So 7 years ago, when I first started inside of the apartment locating real estate niche, obviously I didn't really know a lot about anything, right? I wasn't very good with marketing, wasn't really good with closing people. I wasn't really good talking to people on the phone as well. I used to really freeze up over the phone because I just came from a professional work environment. I was actually a bank teller before making the switch into real estate when I was 19. And, I was really into that like employee mindset. It was hard for me to open up and show my personality. So I really, really did struggle over the phone, right? One day in the morning, a colleague of mine, his name is Rich. He actually pulled me over. I had just gotten off of sales call with apartment locating. And obviously that conversation didn't really end up turning out so well, right? Because I was very neutral over the phone, right? So when I hung up, a colleague, Rich, he actually walked over to my desk, right? And, he stopped me and he was like, "Hey man, I gotta give you some advice." So I heard him out, right? And he was like, "Hey, how about instead of picking up the next phone call, you don't pick up unless you have something nice to say," right? And so at first, I didn't know what he was talking about. But when he further explained, he told me that in the business I was in apartment locating, we compete with several other agents that are offering this free service, connecting, our potential clientele with apartment complexes that meet their criteria, right? So if we have a lot of competition out there, Rich explained to me that actually making an effort to be extra positive and down to earth and friendly with people, and really just kind of letting your personality show out through your voice, right? This all happens through your mouth, right? When you do this right and you're being yourself, and you actually start with positive energy during your phone calls, you can actually double your closing rate, right? And the reason this happens is because, it's within human nature to want to sort of like reciprocate kindness if we hear it, right? As human beings and as adults, right, living on planet Earth, no one's really down to earth or very polite anymore in business, really, right? And so when we work with a professional that is clearly down to earth and is making an effort to be polite and friendly, that's kind of a rare thing nowadays. And so when we see that as human beings, we always want to kind of like instantly, it's like we have this responsibility now to show respect and to kind of like give back the same amount of professionalism and kindness in return. It's human nature and it works every single time, right? So when you do this, when you make an effort and actually leverage positivity through your voice over the phone, people actually listen to you a lot more and they respect and value your time more. Right. So then when you go to follow up with them in the next couple of days, they actually make an effort to like almost want to keep you updated and answer your texts and your phone calls because you were so polite to them and no one really is in the industry. Right. So that's why this works so well. Right. And when you have more efficient follow-ups and clients that respect you and your time because you were just friendly with them in the first place, right? What's going to happen is that indirectly, it's going to help a lot of other factors, right? They're not going to want to go and work with another broker or real estate agent because it's going to make these leads and these potential clientele realize that you're an actual person who deserves, your time to be respected, right? So the retention, your lead retention, the communication is all strengthened just from leveraging positivity, right? And when I really thought about this deeply, you can kind of pull examples from a lot of different situations in life, right? Like think about when you went to just like a normal fancy restaurant or something, right? Like, isn't it true that whenever you get a waiter or a waitress that's competent, like the food comes out on time, but they're neutral with you when they speak, like it's like you don't really want to give them a large tip if you don't have to, even if everything, just went according to how things should go when you go to a fancy restaurant, right? But isn't it true that whenever you get an abnormally friendly waiter or waitress, it's like really down to earth or talking to you, they seem like they actually care. Isn't it almost like you feel forced, almost like it's your responsibility to now tip them very, very well just because you had such a nice positive time and it's such a rare thing to see that, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have a really, really positive experience and my waiter or waitress is just super friendly, it's like I almost feel forced to tip them very well, right? Because that's how humans work. That's literally our nature. And so if you guys can just leverage that same simple psychological hack, whenever you pick up the phone, you can literally double your sales without having to learn or implement a new software or kill yourself with follow-up because your follow-up is now more efficient because these people respect you because you were nice to them. So that's literally all it takes, right? So I was talking to Rich and I was like, you know what? I'm a brand new apartment locator. What the heck? I'm just going to go ahead and try to leverage the positivity. And so when I was talking to Rich, I was like, dude, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to be friendly though, right? I'm just not in a friendly mood. So I don't want to just not pick up calls. So I was like, you need to help me, how can I get around that when I'm not in a good mood? And Rich actually, he suggested something really funny that was also quite effective, right? He was like, all right, so this is what you do. He goes, before you pick up the phone, right? Just put a fake smile on your face and just hold it for a couple seconds and then pick up the phone and just instantly it's going to help promote you to be in a good mood, right? And so for the next few calls, I would literally just smile before, like my phone would ring and I would just literally smile for a few seconds before answering. And it's funny how just like a simple tweak in your facial expression it actually works. So if you guys try that, like when your phone rings, just hold a smile, and then pick up, and you're just instantly you're instantly in a better mood, and you're more prone to be friendly to your leads, right? And so that's all it actually takes to double your closing rate because your follow-ups become way more responsive, efficient. These people respect you because you were nice to them when no one else was. Even if other brokers or competitors are competent, they probably weren't as down to earth or friendly, right? So they're going to prioritize working with you exclusively. And it just helps with everything and it streamlines your whole entire business. When you leverage positivity, in all of your sales calls. And the cool thing about the apartment locating industry, truly with this psychological hack, is that our business process, like the life cycle of when we first procure a lead, work them, and then they close, it just happens so unbelievably fast compared to any other real estate transaction that I know of, right? Like being a realtor, there's 10 plus life cycle stages. There's so much paperwork and so much to do before you close on a house, whether you're a buyer's agent or a listing agent. But as an apartment locator, it's not like we can do our job from home. It's not terribly complicated, right? People call us, we go over a very quick pre-qual, and our pre-qual is way less extensive than realtor pre-qual, right? Like our clients don't even need 2 years of tax returns like if you were a realtor, and the credit doesn't need to be over 600 like if you were buying a house, right? Everything is just so much more laid back. So the pre-qual is easier as an apartment locator, and then all you're doing is sending them an email of like 8 or 10 or so relevant apartments after you're going through the pre-qual and what they're looking for, right? So, I mean, we're talking like a 2-3 minute phone call, and then you're going to send them a list, and the clients that you send a list out to, an email of properties digitally, they tour the properties themselves, right? And so when they tour themselves, the apartment staff closes them, and then you just send out an invoice, right? So all of that can be done from home, and it's truly just a 3-step life cycle to closing apartment locator leads, right? So it's like you don't even really talk to these people that long anyway. So when you really make an effort to just, right from the first phone call, leverage positivity, pick up the phone and say, hey, this is whatever my realty company is. How can we make your apartment search easier? And when they start telling you stuff, all you've got to do is just be friendly and try to build rapport one time very, very fast. Like if they tell you they have a pet, just be like, wow, pets are cool. You have a poodle? I have a toy poodle too. They're awesome, aren't they? Like that's all it really takes to leverage positivity, because there's so many brokers and real estate agents that just get on the phone and they're unbelievably neutral, and they're just trying to like textbook grade, do their job and get through the pre-qual like they're a robot, right? So no one really wants to work with someone that's neutral and not like energetic and passionate about their job, right? And so this truly, truly does help double your closing rate if you simply just make an effort to bring a lot of energy and your personality and just kindness over the phone. And these conversations don't need to be long, but people can really pick up on just the way you speak and your energy, and you can easily double your closing rate, which essentially doubles your income at the end of the month. So why would you not do that? So next time you guys pick up the phone and you're working a sales call, go ahead and force a smile on if you're in a bad mood, and leverage positivity and double your closing rate without any complicated software tools, right? This is all psychological, and I know you can absolutely do it, because if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. So subscribe to this channel if you thought this episode was valuable, and drop a comment. If you've tried this, and whatever platform you're on, if you're able to drop a comment below this video or something, and let me know if this actually doubled your closing rate, because it did for me, and so I'm sure it would for you. So let me know your experiences with this, and I will see you guys on the next one.